Yeah,
A
I'm actually
link.
getting it now.
And you. Oh, how's the week been?
It's been okay. It's been okay. Uh, usual stuff at work.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. We're doing some good stuff. We're doing some interesting work around automation back in the office. So it's always interesting getting involved in some of those projects. But all in all, it's been a good week. I think it has ended on a high with the Jack Paul and Mike Tyson fight. A little bit of a bummer, I guess.
It looked fixed to me.
Yeah, I think I was also just about to say that. I think it must have been a fixed thing because he didn't seem like he was cuddling the guy. He wasn't himself. Anyway, I mean, you've got what,
Also,
40 million, and
age
he got
aspect.
what?
There's the aspect of age also.
His age is 58 years.
But he got good money. He got, I think, is it $20 million or what?
I think that's why, what is his name? Um,
Jake Paul.
Floyd Mayweather says this is like a bank robbery whenever he does these fights. Because just imagine, these were 8 rounds, each was 2 minutes.
Hmm.
So I don't know what, 16 minutes. So just hold on, Mike. You just throw those, baby fists and stuff until we get to the 16th minute. And with
So
breaks,
you
two
get rid
minutes,
of
a bit of,
you take care of the expenses, pay off your team, pay off
yeah,
tax, and you ride off into the sunset.
that's it.
Because $20 million by today's standard is how much?
Is
20
that 2 billion in Kenya shillings?
about 2.4.
2.4, yeah.
You don't even to do any. You don't need
Billion.
to do any business. What you do, you tell the
Yeah.
bank, I'm going to set up a second account.
Mhm.
Put 1 million in my account every month. That's 12 million per year.
That's Kenya shillings now.
Hmm. 12 million per year. That will take you 100 years to get to 1.2 billion.
And then of course you could even put some in like a money market fund
The money market, you take half of it in money market,
or a bond.
then the
And
rest you
those
call
that are
you know, account. Put one
every
M in my
year.
account. Put
Yeah.
one M in my checking account every month. That's one M. And then that one M, since it's coming in every month, I use it to take a loan, buy some.
Yeah.
Because I'm
A lot
getting
of
one. The
money.
bank is registering 1 million every month. Take a loan. Start some small puny business just to keep me busy. Hmm. The other bunch is remember Tyson started touching big money a very long time ago. He was our champion at 20 years.
Oh yeah. I think
The
one thing that
GFC.
you have to credit Tyson is he's remained relevant all through. I saw even some of his sort of contemporaries who came around to sort of boost him up, the Evander Holyfield and the likes. We don't get to hear about them, but we do hear of Mike Tyson. He has, I think, a
Holyfield
podcast
tried
that
a
he does.
comeback. He
Yeah.
tried a comeback, but it was complete flop.
Yes, and outside the ring, outside the sports itself, the guy is still relevant.
Yeah, because he made use of what do I
I think
call
he has.
it? He made use of the internet, like he's on Joe Rogan. I've seen him in a podcast with Undertaker,
Mhm.
just by association and sitting in front of a camera. Because that's a good thing about being a beast when you have the energy. People want to know what's it about, because no one wants to know about Floyd Mayweather. He makes money, but who wants to sit and listen to Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Floyd might actually just fade off, but
Yeah,
Mike Tyson would
hmm.
outlast him. I mean, I
Yeah,
see
because
here he has a.
he was really he was the face of American boxing. Growing up, we knew that no. In fact, when Buster Douglas beat him, it was world shock. Yeah, that's his. Yeah, yeah. That's he normally appears in this thing.
And you can see it has close to 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
So this
Because
guy, and as you say, not just his podcast, is being on other people's podcast. And I think there was even this video that came out this week when he was being asked about legacy. Let me try and get it. I think the legacy one was about. He said, you know, I always find him to be. How would I put it? I think his thinking is very high
well, this is a
compared
man. You
to
see, they say difficult times, you know, tough times make strong men. You have to be tough from a very early age. And
Mhm.
he started training at 13, and at 13 he was knocking out adults in the ring.
Yes.
So he went through some difficult moments, and then two people, things went wrong. There's a two guys trained him. There's a guy called Cass D'Amato who picked him from the street.
Hmm.
So Cass D'Amato died. Then Kevin Rooney took him through. Somehow, a gentleman known as Don King convinced Mike Tyson to get rid of Kevin Rooney. The moment they got rid of Kevin Rooney, they say Mike Tyson's boxing craft development ended there, because Don King was introduced Mike to life of luxury. When the scandals began, and in fact, there was a time he used to live in a big mansion with 30 vehicles
Yeah.
under the tutelage of Cass Damat or even Kevin Rooney. That would not ever have happened. But then when Don King came in and his team and whatnot, everything went haywire. They say
Mm.
his boxing
As a
craft could
promoter.
not develop past there.
Mm.
And then with the hiyo maisha ya starehe nini, he got jailed on these rape charges. And then since his skill was diminishing, he was now forced to rely on brute power. And when you start aging, power will go down. But if you have been skilled for a long time, as much as your power goes down, your skill will carry you through. That's why Floyd was able to fight in his 40s. In fact, he had a very big problem with his hands. His bones used to be brittle.
Mm.
Uh, Mayweather. And I could punch his hands get broken. Hmm.
Like a
So he
small
had,
guy. Yeah.
yeah, so he
How
had
tall
to
is
adapt. Huh?
how tall is uh how
I've
tall
never
is
checked. I've never checked, but what I appreciate about Floyd, he's a smart businessman.
oh yes, he is.
Yeah, he said that when he was coming up, those fights during the first fights, how much money is available? They tell him a small figure. So I'll take it. So when he got his first major paycheck, he took over 50% and dumped it in real estate. And American real estate is really beautiful. If you are in America and you have some money, real estate in US, you can never go wrong.
Yeah, I think I
So,
saw he was interviewed by Grant Cardone during one of his 10x events,
mm,
and I would bet probably he must be investing together with Grant at some point. He's come. I think he's been invited several times to those events. So I'm sure beyond, inviting him as a speaker, there must be some business deals they have done, behind the scenes, and many of those could be, investing with Grant on some of his real estate projects.
and then apart from that, in fact, things turned around when he later used to be with this promoter. I forget his name. Then he became
Hmm.
his own promoter.
Okay.
He had promotion called Mayweather Promotions. Then he took somebody called Leonard Elaby to be the CEO of the promotion. So as much as Lut family karibu sana, the man with the boat. So as much as what do I say? As much as he was the owner of Mayweather Promotions, it's Elaby, the businessman, who was the CEO. And they say that whenever they were busy making these deals, yeah, Al Heyman, correct, Al Heyman. So whenever they were making these deals, uh, Mayweather, as much as he was not very much in the business lingo, he would call a team member aside out of the meeting and said, "Explain to me like a 4-year-old what this means." Over, then
Hmm.
okay, let's go with this. So that's what he
Like,
did.
imagine those contracts could be so convoluted. It's
Yes.
only the lawyers that understand them. So if you're not keen, you might be might
So he
get
would say,
fucked back.
"Listen, explain to me like a 4-year-old what's going on here." Understanding the business, then real estate. Instead, he initially used to pump over 50% of his paycheck in real estate. And
Wow.
then
Wow.
he was saying he pumped some money there. So when the next big paycheck comes in, he goes to invest, to reinvest. They tell him this is how much your investments have grown. And the guy got shocked. It was like a very huge leap, like when property goes, these are buildings and not high-end buildings. When property goes up by say 20%, that's a lot of money in dollars.
Mm.
So he keeps on pumping and reinvesting and pumping. So this flossing mode naona na magari sijui nini, that one came later on. That one came very much later on. But when you look at there was another boxer who tried to be like Mayweather, but he flopped. Somebody called Adrian Broner. In fact, they used to call him the next uh, Mayweather, but he was into partying and what. Like, tell you something funny about Floyd. He parties a lot, but he doesn't take alcohol. So
Oh, really? Eh?
what he used to do, he goes
Mm.
to a party, goes to the nightclub, does this ABCD, kula shere. Then at night when returning home, he tells his
Mm.
driver to drive slowly and he jogs on his way home.
Mm.
He goes home. So his training regime is actually intertwined with his normal lifestyle.
Mm.
Mm. So imagine
Wow.
say you are living in Karen and the club is around, let's say, Nyayo roundabout. So you tell the driver, just drive slowly behind me, I'll go home jogging. Many times he used to do that during his time as a boxer. So what would happen? People would see him in the club partying, but they don't see him jogging back home. And in the partying, he will not take alcohol. And there are sessions when he used to actually train overnight.
Mm.
There are days he said it's called what you call boosting yourself psychologically. You believe that while you are training, your potential opponents are asleep. So he used to do an all-nighter. And
Yes.
then there are days on his normal training days, when he's not training at night, he would wake up at 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3 is in the gym. So while you get in the gym at 7, he's been training for 4 hours. So as much as he's much of a braggart, his work at many boxers says who worked close to him, his work ethic is abnormal. In fact, there's a boxer called Zab Judah says Floyd trains as though he's broke. But then again, that's
Is
the
it
beauty
see
of
that kind of work ethic? And I think also it seems like Tyson also maintained that. I saw how hard he was training in the lead up to this fight. Let's quite listen into this video that went viral earlier this week
okay.
when Mike Tyson was asked by this young lady what he thought about legacy.
Well, in your return to the ring for this fight, you are setting a monumental opportunity for kids. Well, in your return to the ring for this fight, you are setting a monumental opportunity for kids my age to see the legend Mike Tyson in the ring for the first time. So, after such a successful career, what type of legacy would you like to leave behind when it's all said and done?
Man, I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. Legacy doesn't mean nothing. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. Someone said that word and everyone grabbed on the word, so now it's used every 5 seconds. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just passing through. I'm going to die, and it's going to be over. Who cares about legacy after that? What a big ego. So I'm going to die. I want people to think that I'm this, I'm great. No, we're nothing. We're just dead. We're dust. We're absolutely nothing. Our legacy is nothing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is something that I have not heard before. Someone say that as an answer.
Can you really imagine somebody say, I want my legacy to be this way when you're dead? Why do you want somebody to think? You think somebody really wants to think about you? What's the audacity? I think I want people to think about me when I'm gone. Who the fuck cares about me when I'm gone? Well, my kids, maybe, or grandkids. Who the fuck cares?
So I'll be interested to hear your take. One, maybe you can give me what you think people thought of it, the wider majority, and then two,
this is
your thoughts on it?
This is the Tyson that developed after he had risen from the ashes. Kumbuka, there was a time he got broke. So when a man takes a beating, you realize I have to think in a different way than before, otherwise I'll end up in the same place.
That's true.
Yeah, you have to, because when you talk of legacy seems to be a bit public oriented, like what Andrew Mutua will think of me, what Lut family will think of me, what Sharif Mustafa will think. Okay, it's not against the law, but how much of your energy are you dedicating to legacy? And is this real? Are you being real in the so-called legacy? I may talk of legacy if I am a leader of a country. Legacy of, let's say, setting us having a culture of an export-oriented economy. But that's a legacy I'm talking, because I'm in charge of a country. But as an individual, I think number one is to be true to yourself. That is Mike Tyson being true to himself, knowing very well that he's no longer in a place where he has to impress people. Things of legacy, you'll associate it with the young boxers who are really driven by response from the crowd. He set up a legacy of being a very stylish boxer. He's the king of this style of boxing. You see, you are influenced by the crowd, but the Mike Tyson that we see that picked himself from the ashes, a man who went from owning 30 cars, instead he even said, I used to own a tiger. asked, what was I doing in that tiger in the first place? Because he was asking.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You know, when we first started, I said, you know, for somebody to arrive to that answer of his, you're definitely at a very higher plane of thinking
Yes.
than your ordinary man.
Hmm.
Because he stripped away everything. You know, people call him, and actually out of this fight, even though he lost, all I had was praises for Mike Tyson. People are just saying respect to the GOAT. And that actually brings me up. We might even look at our own local GOAT here and how people were viewing him. And this brought up this particular poem. It's a poem called If by a gentleman called Rudyard Kipling, is it?
Rudyard Kipling.
Rudyard Kipling.
Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah, Rudyard Kipling.
Rudyard Kipling. If I got the name correct.
Yeah, that's the one. So it's this part that I've just highlighted, and I got this from this amazing speaker called Vusi Tembekwayo out of South Africa. He always makes quite a number of references to this poem, and he says there's this part that I've just highlighted, which says, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. Because, you know, sometimes in life, I think the wins we get, and even sometimes the losses that we get, we tend to make them to be part of our identity. And I think this is the biggest.
Is this poem that says, if you can remain calm when everybody around you is losing their mind? Does it say something like that?
I'm not sure if there's that. I'll have to check. But it's an interesting, I mean, this part, I guess, still.
I've heard it in an audio. It was part of some audio that I used to listen to while working some time back. If you can remain calm while the world around you is collapsing, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's same words that mean the same, or different words that mean the same.
See, so Tyson has gone past. You see, let's face it. We're at a point where I'm thinking I need to get that Mercedes W124. You are thinking of pushing your business to the next level. And then someone is saying, so
it's done it all.
Whatever it is you are doing has been done before. Even the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. Whatever you're trying to do, it's the same. And then there's another, I think this someone from China or what says, at the end of the day, it's not about treating things as a joke, but coming to the realization that life itself is a joke. And as I started thinking some time back, I think it was in my second job after campus. We were working with another elderly engineer to put together a water treatment unit for startup. So he told me about this guy. That was in 2007. 2007. So in 2007, ukiwa up country and you build a mansion with power supply and telephone line na kila kitu, that's a major achievement. 2007. Now this is the thing that happened. The guy builds the house, does everything, connects running water, so solar, simu, kila kitu. Then after doing that, the guy dies. It looks like a very cruel joke, but it seems like, okay, why did you do all these things then? Why did you, Jumba design architects, and the guy simply dropped down and died? That's why you say life has played the cruel joke on you. So there's a certain plane of thinking when you get to. I think you'll just be walking the streets of Nairobi, seeing people hustling, making deals, and you're like, okay. And I think you develop a mentality, very close mentality. I once sat in a matatu with somebody who used to work in a mortuary. And this guy was like, you do what you do, I'll be waiting for you. Do what you do, please do it. It's nothing wrong. I'll be waiting for you. Me and my slab. So
Yeah, I think it's realizing also that the world is a big universe, man. I mean, just think about it. I mean, we all think of ourselves as very special people, unique, and it's not bad to think of yourself as that. But again, it's good to always realize that it's like the way we say, if you happen to either, God forbid, you die and you're no longer at your work, the next day they'll be filling out that position, and life will move on as though you are not even there. And I think
it,
that's sort of the
it's
hard
not even.
truth that Tyson was trying to communicate here. So that sometimes we I think overestimate our value to some degree. And I must say that you have to look at that with a balance. I mean, I'm not saying that you think of yourself as too small, but then again, don't, it's the same way that, people sometimes have sort of that self deprecating humor. Just sometimes to laugh at yourself, maybe on the mistakes that you make, and just, pick yourself up and move on, and not realize that that doesn't mean that you're the mistake that you made that particular time, that we have to always grow, develop, be different. And
You see,
it's that having that balance, I think that's the key thing. The balance to realize that you don't need to overestimate your value, and also you don't need to
don't need to put
not
yourself
allow
too low.
self-esteem. So it's a balance of the two.
In fact, there are discussions I normally had with my colleague Eric. We look at life as role play, like not role play, adult movies. No, not that one. No, there's role play a bedroom. There are people when you mention role play, the mind flies everywhere. Take it
Yes.
like a stage, those live plays. You see, when your part ends, you leave the stage. And one thing I know, this issue of death and whatnot, I normally say one thing, and it has been proven many times. There are two things that we are born afraid of: very loud and sudden noise, and the falling effect of gravity. Those are the only things we are born fearing. The rest we are trained, the rest we learn. So that means one of the most difficult aspects of a human being, especially the male human being, is unlearning things. You realize there's so much information to unlearn that, you see, we have put our, let's say, our intelligence is very high, but because of our intelligence, the way it has been tapped, we have things like grudges, lifelong enmity, remembering things that happened to you, I don't know, 15 years ago, because we have been trained to keep these things in mind. It is something we learn. It's never there. What we are born inherently with is very large noise, like bah, sudden, that loud, that one we fear. Even a lion in its full majestic capacity, you fire a gun in the air, it will sort of startle and take off. And then gravity. So, but the rest, it is trained in us. We are trained to be very sad about death. Yes, it's part of a life cycle. And that is something, unlearning it is next. I don't know. But there are people, there are tribes, some tribes, I don't know which tribes, their definition of death is very strange. When someone dies, they just take him to some mountain that's very high, they drop him there, then they let the vultures feed on him. They say, Uyo Sasa, his journey is complete. Now, from some of us, or most of us, we have created a situation whereby we've created an opportunity for someone to make millions out of the funeral industry because of this stuff that has been implanted in our heads. You are making someone become a multi-millionaire from the business of disposing an inanimate object. This is no longer there. Then you have to pump in millions. And the same group of people, if you tell them, hey, listen, I'm Andrew Mutua, I have this project. What I need from you is contribution for server space. I just need this server space and you are on. And look at the pushback you'll get. Oh, sijui nini. We kijana si utafute tu kazi nzuri, sijui nini. Some weird pushbacks will come in your direction. But let someone drop dead. You'll wonder, kwani nyinyi mnakuanga na pesa hivi? So these are some of the things we have to unlearn. And you realize unlearning is even more difficult than learning.
It is.
You are saying that I don't know calculus iko ngumu. Try telling someone we have to look for the cheapest method of disposing bodies. My friend, you'll be called Illuminati, Mchawi, devil worshipper, all sorts of names will be called. If you tell someone, look, let's decide that please do not bring offspring into this world if you don't have the necessary capacity to give a competitive advantage to your offspring. Oh, weni mchawi, oh, hii ndio mila zetu za kitamaduni, oh, Mungu alisema tujaze dunia. The level of pushback you'll get is abnormal. It's extremely abnormal. And now that we're at a point where, as we discussed in our last session, that the world is more emotional than logical. Now, try to take someone through the unlearning process when whatever he has been learning has pushed him on the emotional plane. You'll need to even buy a bulletproof vest and a helmet and even get some insurance because it may turn into an altercation. Oh, huyu amekuja na mashetani yake, sijui nini. Someone may even spray holy water on your face. It's some weird stuff. So it's quite an interesting, as I say, these are wonderful times to be alive. It's wonderful times to be alive.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And it's great reflecting on these boxers, this sportsmen that, because sports has got quite a lot of lessons to draw on, the resiliency, the discipline that it makes. I mean, looking at the life and career of Mike Tyson, when he was on his high and lows and where he is now. I mean, that's a man who is constantly reinventing himself. And I think, as you say, unlearning is the hardest thing. But somebody who does who's been able to reinvent himself. Actually, even someone else that we all know that I might even give a shout out is somebody called Andrew Kibe.
Yes.
You can say what you want to say about him. That guy is in a constant, he's always doing something. He came back to Kenya, people thought his career was dead.
Now he's riding across 47 counties.
47 counties in 47 days.
Yes.
On a bike.
Yes.
He's always constantly doing it. He went into YouTube. The guy was smashing numbers like crazy. He dominated that social media space. It's like anything this guy takes on, he takes it seriously. I mean, he's a good pool player. Is whatever he decides to sort of focus or train his sights on.
And what makes it so interesting about his YouTube days, there was nothing extraordinary he was doing except from being truthful.
Yeah.
He just spoke the truth.
No. And you see, this is, and I think we spoke a little bit about this last weekend. because I've been reflecting a lot about the world, where it is now, and with the emergence of this thing we are calling wokeness, and to a lot of degree, I think what it is robbing us is to be real and to interact with a level of truthfulness. It's like we virtue signal. We want to just put all the right sounding words, but in essence, we are not. We would like to assume, and we always use all these nice terms. Let's be inclusive. Let's show compassion. Let's show humanity. While in essence, what we are doing, because we rob each other of truth, we rob each other of authenticity. We are, in a sense, being inhuman and not showing compassion.
We are actually draining
I want
ourselves.
the world to begin to sort of come to itself, because that's it. Because I've been struggling a lot trying to understand what is this move or agenda being pushed. And I think what it is doing is that lack of authenticity, that lack of realness, that I can't look at you, Brian, and say you're fat. You need to unfat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Punguza
and
kitambi.
it's not being an asshole or rather being insulting, but let's be truthful.
But fat is
I
fat.
think at the bottom line, let's be truthful and authentic with our engagements, with our interactions with one another.
Actually, at the end of the day, fat is fat. What is unhealthy? It will mess you up. So why should you tell me, Brian, I appreciate you the way you are? Then the day I collapse with a stroke, what now? And what if at that point, I only needed that word of Brian, you are fat and you're a slob, to fire me to do something about it. But because you said I accept you the way you are, I go into complacency mode. 20 cars, 2-3 years down the line, 53 years stroke. How? 52 years, you are in the mortuary freezer. Heart attack. How? Why? Because you had a chance to tell me, we wacha unakaa vibaya na hiyo kitambi yako. Now, to someone may say matusi, but you are saving my life. You have noticed that I'm taking a trajectory that is not healthy for my well-being. And kitambi ni kitambi. What other name is there for kitambi? What other name is there for fat? See, fat is fat. When ni mnono. So that begs the question: are we the so-called, the mythical 1% of the population that is somehow turns us into puppets, that we can't even speaking the truth becomes now you've caused someone emotional damage? Because hapo ndo tumefika. In some setups, you can be called to the HR. Why? Because some madam there, she had a hairstyle that looked hideous from the word go. And you said, madam, kwani ulikosana na mtu wa salon? And you find yourself mbele ya HR. Emotional damage.
Just imagine how much self-censoring we each do.
Eggshells. They call it eggshells.
Cannot really say what they mean. People cannot say, what's on their minds. People cannot say, because of the repercussions we've put in, the cancel culture, of course. And this sweeps across all facets of our lives. All facets of our lives. If you're in the corporate sector, this thing. If you're running your own business, probably a little bit. If you happen to be a self-employed someone, you do have, a bit of a free room, a free reign to. I was looking at this guy. I think it's called Dan Brazilian. I don't know if you've heard of him, and he's now been talking about some very controversial geopolitical matters. But it's because he's a wealthy guy. He's a wealthy guy, and he sort of has.
He looks buff or something. Jenga hivi.
Guys, It looks like Buff used to have like a lot of women all around him.
I know him. I know him. I know him. I know him.
So he has some very controversial geopolitical statements. I can't even say them. But he's wealthy. I think I understand he's worth between 100 to 200 million dollars net worth. Actually, it could be more. I think it was 2 to 300, somewhere between there, between 100 to 300 million. That's still a lot of money, even if you take the lower band there at 100. So that does provide him with sort of the wiggle room to say what he wants to say. And even for him, it took him a point in time to sort of master that courage. Because there are also some very wealthy people. Like I imagine many of these celebrities that we have, many of them, we tend to think they are rich or something. But I think they're in bondages.
I
They're in bondage.
remember there was this conversation. There's this former tennis player, I think it's called Andy Murray.
Andy Murray from the UK, yes.
He mentioned something about how the best inequality in tennis is a scam because we are not equal. And to even push the agenda home, he said one of the best tennis players, women's category, I think it was Venus Williams, she lost to a guy who's, I don't know, number 50 what? 55. Then all of a sudden the media was on him and wow, I said, look, but the facts are there. The number one in women's category lost to number, I don't know, some unranked character whose name is not
Also,
even.
he was questioning the ranking system.
Huh?
He was questioning the ranking system
No,
in
you're not
tennis.
questioning the ranking system. He was saying that there's no equality between men and women in things like
Oh.
tennis. That's why he said
Oh.
the champion in women's tennis lost
Can
to
be.
a ranked character in the men's category. And then there was a mention of the US. I think it was the US women's football team. They were soundly beaten by a high school football team of teenagers, boys.
Yeah.
Then when you put some things out there, they were questioning why the way these women say women footballers need to be paid the same as men. Same, okay, we're ready to pay you as much as you want, but let's get down and do the traceability studies. Let's sort of work back, because the money comes from the revenue. When you have the World Cup where men are playing, the world literally comes to a stop. You have to be told that there's a World Cup for women going on. They have to tell you.
I think it's the same thing that was being spoken of about even WNBA.
Yeah, same.
When it comes to, does it attract enough, traffic in the stadiums as the usual NBA? When it comes to other things, the merchandising and endorsements, do they attract as much as men? Because as you're saying, yes, it's not a question of we are holding back money. If they can attract as much revenue or more compared to men, then they should definitely get
it's a
more.
Business. I can't be making 1.2 million shillings per month. Then I pay you 900,000. The mathematics doesn't make any sense. So the maths is not mathing. It's not really making any sense. So they said, what figures are you drawing?
Yeah.
And the same thing people said, okay, what if men said, okay, how come women in the modeling sector earn more than men? Men, we want more money. Male models want same money as the female models. Because in the modeling scene, women make more money.
Exactly.
Men don't make as much. So why are you not hearing men say, oh, man, I want to make as much money as the ladies? No, because those
Yeah.
men in the modeling scene are aware of the situation. Because in modeling, as much as you want to say it's clothes and fashion, it is sex and the appeal of sex which sells, and the majority of the customers are men. So they don't want to see the curves and the figures and the smiles, and they look towards the ladies. And the models in the industry are aware of that. It's called
Exactly.
Operation Kubali Matokeo. Whatever you are
And
earning,
if you have a nice car, do you put male models or you put women?
you put women. You put women.
And,
And
I mean, these are the realities that we have to accept, because we are different. We know a woman has got more higher sex appeal compared to a man. I mean, a man will be part of putting women and cars together is because the two of them are actually attractive. If you put a man and the car, the focus will be focused purely on the car and on the
what
functional.
happens when you put a
The
man
idea
on
is
the
to
car?
also sell the aesthetics, which are
You
more
see, when
assigned to women.
when you put a man on the car, you are creating difficulties for the sales team, because a man represents objectivity. So what will happen? People asking how much horsepower, what is the torque,
Exactly.
what is the acceleration time,
Functionality
what is the
element.
carrying
Exactly.
capacity, if it is a hybrid, how much is it recovering? But if you put a shapely girl, hi, mambo poa, how much? Okay, let me know haraka haraka. Even in the back of your mind, you are trying to impress this woman by your capacity to buy that car cash. You want to show mimi ni ndume. I was
Exactly.
just, because I was just passing by and I wanted to buy this car. You want to show that Andrew Mutua buys cars. Just he was in the neighborhood and he saw a car he wants to buy. The Kinudian you has been activated.
Has
But
been
if you
whipped.
put a man, now the question: how many cylinders, firing sequence, which is the best
By
duplicate? Lot of
the
people have
time
been.
you evaluate all those things, you'll have said, no, this is not a good buy.
Hmm.
But this woman will just come tell you a few things. You'll not even be listening to what she's saying. You're probably looking at her calves, at the ass, at everything about her. And it will be an impulse buy
It will
without
be
even knowing.
what you call a show off buy. Show off. You want to
Yes.
show this lady. You know me. I find it very annoying to negotiate over cars. I negotiate over buildings and other things like in private jets that I can negotiate. But I can't, my dear, me and my car. I just. In fact, there are so many in the parking lot. I'm simply buying so that I replace the one ile ziko kama 20 huko ndani. Now we don't care if it is 20 or 10, but you've bought it. You've signed on the dotted line. We have the money.
Also, you won't even bargain or anything.
The ego in you wants to show this lady, Mimi, this.
Yeah.
In fact, but the last time I bargained was 20 years ago.
Yes.
Nowadays, I just buy. In fact, I'm thinking of setting up an account with you people. I'll be picking a car every year. Alafu mnapunguza pesa. Why? The feminine effect has done its job.
Yes.
So where you'll end up with that lady si hautaki kujua, sales department imerecord pesa imeingia kwa account na gari imeuzwa. Put a man there. You'll spend 2 days explaining fuel economy, spare parts, after sale service, tire service, sijui nini, safety features. Like, oh. And you can just put someone there who will make this guy up on apple. And the men in that industry know this. So if you find this model earning more money than you, so now she's the one making these vehicles to sell. The car, in fact, she's the one increasing revenue. She even make this guy come tomorrow and buy another car. Because over will say, can I see you tonight? No, I can't. I have to sleep early. Tomorrow I'm here again. Tomorrow you are here again. Okay, you are here tomorrow, and sales department have seen that conversation. They put another expensive car there. So when you come tomorrow, you buy that one too. So if such a lady is earning a big salary, what is the problem? There's no problem. You don't hear men that who them born and earn pesa nyingi. We are well aware her sex appeal is what is making these vehicles to sell easier without going into explanation about safety features and I don't know braking distance and a lot of headaches. So we are aware of people's roles. But when we switch to the other side where emotions kick in, oh, we want more money. But what are you bringing in? And then they did something very strange. I saw a certain basketball team. You wako sawa wamevaa ile jazi, but chini they are wearing what looks like thongs with the buttocks protruding. Sema, hii ndo ujanja mna okay.
Exactly.
So
It's
these
part
are the
of
type. Uh,
come and watch.
because if you wear normal shorts like men, we'll be like, hakuna. So now you are shifting attention from the game. You find even somebody not even interested in the scores because you're looking at those two carved lumps of flesh there. So okay, so. But then again, when you do that, who will come to watch football? Will come to watch the game with their family? If you are married, your wife won't allow you to come with her and the kids to see women playing basketball with their asses protruding, wearing something like a thong. So again, the revenue will go down. But in games for the men, the NBA, it's an entire family thing. Man, wife, 3 kids. Those are 3 tickets. Those are like 5 tickets. Plus the staff will buy the popcorns, the water, the juices, whatnot. But if you're going to play with your wearing something with a very scanty type of underpant, you'll just bring what you call single ticket purchase per unit. As opposed to when a man will have his wife and 4 kids, it will be the man only. So again, it works against the system. We might as well just start a strip club. So sports will pay as sports. These entities that work on bringing out the female, accentuating female natures, ziko class yake, they too can't meet. But since we are afraid of telling each other the truth, we now put it on a debate. We put it on a Discord. Oh, we need to investigate. And the best way to do it is just calling the people who crunch the numbers. Just bring the number crunch and tell you, upon hii haileti pesa, so we can't get more salaries for this. Plain and simple.
Yep. That's a good one, man.
But we don't want to say, if Andrew, you tell Brian the truth, Brian will get angry. Then he'll sue you for emotional damage.
I think that's where, I mean, we can even start tracing this word of being offended. I actually like, I think I listened one time to one of those spaces of Mnyamwezi and George made a very interesting statement. He said, offense, people take offense. So it's like they bring it to themselves. You don't give it to them. So it is their own interpretation of your words, of your statements, that changes whatever mood or state they are in because of how they have interpreted it. But maybe your words were just your words, and they were just a statement of fact on an issue, but you said you took offense. This is a fairly new phenomenon. I think if we go back 10, 15 years, people maybe never used to use this. This was never in the usual lingo. That's why I'm talking. And then I guess that's why I'm saying part of that is what has made people to self-censure, to not engage in truth, to not be real or authentic with one another. We've all sort of couched our interaction with a lot of political correctness. And even when I say that, I don't mean that we should be, crass or just careless in our speaking. It's just, I think I take it the same way, you know, the way they say you should do a feedback process. Feedback process includes, you know, what they call feedback for improvement, and you know, what you did well, and feedback for improvement, and then you can summarize it all. And that feedback for improvement should really be truthful feedback. I wouldn't want to engage with my fellow colleagues. Of course, I will be respectful, and everyone has a level of dignity, but I would make sure that I voice something that is not right.
Objectivity.
And I think that being very objective, being truthful, being real with one another, and being very clear. And I think this, I hope, hopefully the world will begin to change to what it was.
Yeah, because we are at a point where you want to say something, and they say you start with the "I'm sorry if this will offend you."
Yes, exactly.
So
I'm sorry if it will.
Why are we working? Because I'm not going to insult.
Like walking in eggshells every time I'm talking to, let's say, to you, if or to anyone. Eggshells. I mean, how tiring can that be?
It is so. I think that is the highest level of insincerity. What are you sorry for? Because you are telling me, you're not insulting me, you're not calling me stupid. Even if there's some stupidity, the stupidity will be on my actions, not me. So you say, Brian, this is a very stupid way of conducting yourself. Then I get offended. Why should it is not me, it is the way I've conducted myself. It is against the expectations that you people have of me. So how else should you now express it? Tunyamazian, because either that or we just keep quiet. Because you're not going to solve anything. If you sit in a room for 2 hours and you say, I'm sorry, forgive me if this will come out as offensive, or I'm like, it's no wonder you find a meeting within the first 10 minutes, you are tired. Dakika 15, I'm sorry, by the way, I didn't mean to come that way. I didn't mean to come out in such a manner. Please try to understand what I'm doing. Boss, suseme nini shida kwapi? That's why you find a meeting that should have ended in 15 minutes takes 1.5 hours. Why? Oh, why are you being so offensive? Oh, sijui nini? Can you communicate in a more dignified manner? Can you please put my feelings into perspective? Ndugu yangu. Hapana. We cannot operate like that. We will be failing big time. And this is just simple communication. If you are building something, please, if you are seeing a problem that will take time to solve, write in advance. A week or so, listen, you are experiencing A, B, C, D, and for us to put this, to produce something that is worth talking of, we need extra time. Something as simple as that. Then, instead of cornering, then when the truth is put before my plate, oh, your communication is uncouth, oh, you are not civilized in your expression. Kwani tunatongozana hapa jamani? We're not seducing. We are trying to make
ngoza msichana lazima umbembeleze ndio aingie box.
But here you are trying to achieve a certain end using a reasonable level of resource, including time. Hey, it's like you are in a, what is it, elementary school? Toto Pole Baba, and it's grown men. So an entire 1 hour has flashed by. It's been wonderful. I could reach out to Lote family. Tunasema asante sana for dropping by. And from Athi River, can I say adios?
See ya.
See ya.